Hi, Janet. Welcome. Hello, everybody. I hope you are doing well. We were talking, me and my friend Peter, and he had some questions. He wanted some time for that. So I was overjoyed when he wanted to ask questions on yoga, obviously, right? So I kind of put this time, and which was convenient for Peter also. So 8 o'clock is a good time. We had our things in the evening and then settling down. So today we're going to talk on yoga as a matter of fact. I will allow Peter as he comes in. He will come up and then we'll go with whatever questions he has, I'm going to answer, but then I'm going to add my own insight too. See, these insights on yoga, it's a profound journey to wellness, resilience, and inner peace. This is a journey. So it's not just a series of physical postures. That is there, but it's a holistic approach. You know, um, it nurtures the body, mind, and the spirit. You see, breath work, everybody knows that calms their mind to mindful movement that strengthens our bodies, and meditation that connects us to our inner self. Yoga is a practice that can truly transform lives. It's a lifestyle. So take it like that, and that will be useful for you. Okay. See, modern life has so many demands on us, right? But yoga gives us tools that reduce the stress, and it really allows you to build focus and cultivate a peaceful, non-reactive state of being, right? I use this in my coaching of the people with burnout and stress, right? For myself also, right? So it's a yoga is something accessible to everyone, regardless of their age or fitness level, you know, and actually it serves as a proactive measure to maintain health and prevent illness. That's my thing. So we're going to explore how yoga can be more than a practice. It can be a way of living it's a way of living that brings balance, joy, and sense of oneness to every moment. That sense of oneness is very important. Okay. So thank you for joining me. So we're going to explore that kind of journey today. And as people come in, we're going to, um, okay. So I think I might have opened a little early, but that's okay. It had a chance for me to say what I wanted to say here. Basically, for me, it's a lifestyle. It is incorporated into our modern life. And I live in America, in Iowa, and I live in the world of informatics, medicine, and holistic health practices for wellness, right? I kind of promote proactive wellness. That is beyond prevention. How can we be really proactive about our uh, health and wellness, right? As I saw all people with a lot of illnesses, I kind of wanted to uh, really help people to live a longer, joyful life rather than, uh, oh, there is Peter. See, the proactive wellness is very important for me because I was sick and tired of seeing people ill all the time. Hi, Peter. Welcome.
Dr. Al, namaste.
Namaste. Namaste. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just giving them like my blabber, a little bit of introduction, what we're going to do here. So,
Wonderful.
yeah, as I was saying, it's a journey that I think we should take it in the modern life to deal with, stress and burnout and all that, but also really live a wellness-oriented life. That's what I am really passionate about because there's so much suffering with people, yielding to the illness and not be able to do anything, just going to the doctors and just getting medications only, not the other things. There are people getting more into that, many doctors. That's the encouraging sign. But sometimes they are not allowed to do it because they have to quickly dispose them off, and also they have to protect themselves from lawsuits. So many problems are there. But still, we can employ, like, let us find out what is really wrong with the patient and also teach them some ways that they can employ them so that they can live a longer, really wellness oriented life, feeling good and all. So, oh, Peter, I kind of wanted to talk with you, or you wanted to ask me questions, that's fine. So we will engage in this journey of yoga. Give some,
Great, Dr. Rao.
yeah,
And I appreciate you having me on because I really just have, as you know, I've started on my journey and
yeah,
I'm very much so a novice. I have dipped into some things
mm,
that I really am curious about when I hear you speak about
mm,
different components of practice,
yeah,
or you don't call it practice. I recognize what that is, but oftentimes I never, knew what the title or the name or the meaning behind it was.
yeah.
So I kind of just wanted to start from scratch for my own edification, and maybe perhaps for someone who's new or needs a refresher
Sure.
on
Mm,
on yoga, meditation, breathing practice, so on and so forth. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, let me tell you how it was for me, Peter. That will give you some insight about why a modern physician like me really practices yoga and gets the benefit from it, and also wants to share with my patients and the family and friends so that they can lead a wellness. Okay. Like I told you,
Nice.
I'm 70 years coming on. January 18th, I'll be 70, right? Um,
God
uh,
bless
yeah, I can say that just to, I don't feel like that, but I'm telling you. Um, See, I have seen longevity, lifespan very much at the yogic life. So I adopted that. I will tell you the whole um, facets of yogic lifespan. That is fine. But then one important thing that happened to me was I had a Fontaine stroke in 2014.
you.
Okay, so I had a left-sided complete paralysis, the left hand completely paralyzed, and then left leg also. I could not get up and walk or anything like that, right? And the speech was affected. I was in the middle of the peak of my career, having so much anyway. So everybody felt, oh, this doctor who is handling so many things, he's done, but then I came back within 1 month and I saw my patients myself.
Wow,
You know, uh,
incredible.
yeah. But the thing was, there's a lot of modern medical things we did, and also for relevant to our talk, we did what is called micro yoga and deep breathing. And I happen to be having this present moment awareness, living in the present. That helped me a lot. These three, right? So I started with visualizing movement in the paralyzed arm and leg, and I began to
Hmm.
have some movement in a couple of days, and then I started to do more therapy by myself, but and the physical therapist. They were giving only half an hour and then they go away. But that was
Oh
the,
yeah,
yeah, that's a real mistake. So I kind
yeah,
of, because I've seen so many stroke patients before. Okay, so you can see
yeah.
physically also it made a difference, but of course I go into much deeper aspects of the yoga. So that is one thing I want to point out to people. Even if you are having something extraordinary disease or whatever, you can improve your quality of life. Sometimes you can get your function back. See, now I'm more actively more involved with health policy, wellness movement of the health systems, global
Yeah.
warming thing and all that. See, what I'm saying is you can use yoga in so many different grades, So, when did you become interested in yoga, Peter?
So it was well almost a decade ago, I believe. So it just coming off the heels of um, an addiction to prescription pain medication,
Okay.
and life had blown up, and I ended up in a place that I can think called prison,
Mm.
and two books were handed to me. One was Autobiography of a Yogi by
Yeah.
Paramahansa Yogananda,
Mm.
which talks about Kriya Yoga,
Yeah.
and the other one was The Power of Now with Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Eckhart Tolle is more like a Advaita Vedanta.
he's what?
Advaita Vedanta. There's a, in India, they have this spiritual practices. One of them is non-duality, knowledge of
That's
the,
well said.
uh, basically
Okay.
they're saying we are all one. That's it. That makes a lot, that is much more in my life, more than the yoga itself. A lot of people don't know that. That's like a big deal. Anyway, but you are going to talk about yeah, what is the major question you have yoga about that we can
So the major question, and I never knew it was a question until I started listening to you
yeah,
more closely, and I just assumed that the first thing I thought I was practicing meditation. You corrected me the other day
yeah,
on that because I got it mixed up with yoga practice and practicing meditation. But I guess because when I think of yoga, right, typically I think of um, the kind of combining like the physical postures,
yeah.
breath work, and then the meditation component.
Mm.
So I'm not sure, and we've talked about
Yeah.
strictly meditation and being in that state of bliss.
Mm.
So I guess I would love to hear a more clear picture on that because my understanding was it's breath work,
Yeah.
the pose or the physical aspect of it, and then of course the meditation.
Yeah. 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 See, I will give a very practical thing that I do that may make much more sense to more people. I do what is called integrated yoga practice, right? In the integrated yoga practice, if you are going to work and doing some actions and all that, I do it in a yogic way. I'll explain that later. Okay? That's what it is.
Okay.
When you go to work, you do the action yoga. Okay, and then that's in Sanskrit karma yoga. Okay, and then when I really connect with the universal consciousness or work or the force, the God, whatever we call it, I kind of surrender to that. That is the called bhakti yoga, devotional, right? So I don't want to say, oh, I am the greatest person, I can do all this. No, I surrender to the and then whatever
Yeah.
that actually I told my wife several times that I had the stroke and later we had problems with the economy with the clinic and all that. I said it is all God's will. In Sanskrit, they call Ishvara Icha. Icha means desire. Ishvara means the God. It's God's will, and then accept it and go from there. Okay, I actually do that. So I surrender myself to that, my ego and all that. I don't have a ego as such, but I'm telling you like that. So that's the second one. One is the action. Second one is devotion, right? And the third one is really how I understood mind, focus, meditation, mindfulness, all those things together. Finally, you end up having this intense focus on anything, on the movement itself. That is called Raja Yoga. That teaches you consciousness, that teaches you about awareness, that is about mindfulness. They call it, I don't call it, yeah, you know that I don't call mindfulness because you empty
I
the
know.
mind. So,
Contradiction of terms.
yeah. And also, it has got deeper implications of why people are mindful but they're not serene in their mind. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's it. And then The fourth one is the major one, which is about the knowledge of our being, you know, that is inner. So that's there's more than many sciences I read. I was in medicine, I was in science itself, biology, so many sciences, right? Even now, I'm enrolled in genome, microbiome, all the latest of the science, even quantum mechanics. I was talking about the other day. So I'm very interested in the outward phenomena where science does wonderful things. I think we should unite that science with the spirituality of the ancients, who are sciences of our inner being. Okay, and that's done by your knowledge about it, tapping into the insights that the ancient people had by calming the superficial mind and going into meditative awareness. And in that energy, they got these insights into several fields: astronomy, agriculture, human beings, so many things they have had. People used to come from all over the world to learn it, right? And then that evolved into what's called Gnana Yoga, knowledge yoga. And that's not like our reductionist scientific thing. It's like a holistic thing, understanding of human beings much more. And that is my biggest blissful experience, having that kind of knowledge. That what it is, it showed me that we are all in one energy. We are all really one. And I don't take it as a concept. I see it as a reality, because of that. Now, what happens is our mind, our heart desires so many things, especially if you are want to, just basic existence, and then going after a few pleasures, and then going after securing things and all that. We kind of try to be selfishly work, you know. But in karma yoga, what that is the action yoga. You see, so the fourth thing, I'm clear, right, on the integrating the four yogas about what we work, what we worship, how we focus in life, and also how we gain knowledge about our inner being. Okay, so those four are integrated. That means I work in a state of yoga. I kind of live and devote myself to divinity in a state of yoga, and I kind of focus with the help of this yogic life, completely laser focus, right? And then
Yeah.
that my mind is very healthy too. And then this knowledge dispels my ignorance. There is clarity, there is a direction, there is focus. So the formula there, what they really told clearly was, first do whatever you do unselfishly, so that your heart and mind are cleaned. With that clean mind, you learn to focus your mind. So learning of the knowledge really happens when you have a clean mind. That's also a focused mind. And that's when you really go into the knowledge yoga, Gnana yoga, and you get this knowledge. It's not just about physical exercises, breathing, and all that. It's much deeper than that, but it is a preliminary thing. It's not that you should not do physical yoga. No, no, I do that too, right? But the thing is, how do you regard your body? I regard it more like as a temple for my inner divinity, right? That's the way you work with it. So it's not like I'm fancy, I want to be handsome, I want to sculpt it and all that. They don't mean anything to you when you really realize inward essence. Is it clear, all these four yogas together?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm just kind of thinking of the limited exposure I've had to classes, whether they were online, or at a local ashram in New Jersey. I was just
Yeah.
observing a class through it was something called the Art of Living, and
Yeah.
so that was my first like taste of it. But as I'm hearing you talk, I'm thinking about the folks who go to the gym and or to a yoga studio and practice yoga.
Mm.
And one thing, and they may be doing this, but one thing that's unique, for instance, during your morning routine, is once we're done, you ask us to sit and we just watch our thoughts.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that's included in most all forms of yoga.
Yeah, because
Yes.
ultimately the yoga, the word means yoke. Yoke means union. Union of what? People think that's our body, mind, spirit, and all that. That's not what the original yoga thing we're talking about. What they're talking about is it's called jiva, individual conscious being, realizing that's a part and it is the universal consciousness, like a sun out there, but the sun's rays on each one of us, then the sunlight is within us, right? It's not like something that we have. It is coming from there. That's why we are receiving it, and then we are displaying all the energy and everything too. So understanding that the universal consciousness is essentially me, and I have that as a trace in me. But basically, if you look at it, sea has all the water, but the individual drop is also part of the sea, and it is the sea.
Yeah.
Right? So that is the real yoga meaning is. So it's not the body. That's a tool for you. You have a good body and live well. That's fine. It's not your thought made mind with conglomeration of so much of conclusions, experiences, concepts, and all that. So that's not really you because it changes all the time. What you are in essence, in your essence, you are that conscious being. Abiding in that, you can use mind, you can use the body, but you have the control of the senses, you have control of the mind. That's why you have such a nice focus, and also you are very healthy because your movement of mind produces a lot of stress hormones. And that is not there, then you are really serene, peaceful, joyful within.
Right.
So you got it?
Perfect.
Yeah.
And as I'm listening to you, I'm digesting everything you're saying, and I'm going to re-listen to this broadcast because it's recorded, of course, on Mumbai.
Yeah.
But if I just go back, if I just circle all the way back, and I start from the beginning, and say I'm working with Dr. Rao, and I just notice like this guy is at peace all the time, and he's smiling, he's joyful, and he's got this energy. And I ask him about, what's it about? And you explain it to me, just as you explained to me now on a lunch break.
Yeah.
And I ask you, where should I start? What's the first thing I should do to enter into yoga practice?
See, you first start with your outer layer of five layers of personality we call in yoga, right? Pancha kosha, they call it. Pancha means five, kosha means layers. See, we have a gross body, bones and muscles and all that, right? And that is made up of our food, with the food. That's why they call it Annamaya kosha. That means you start with your body, okay? And then second layer is the body is having this energy layer. You want to produce your energy so that you can function, you can enjoy your life and all that. And you also are disturbed by the energy when some illness goes on, right? So you want to understand that energy layer and nurture it.
Yeah.
Right? And breathing, all that. And then there is a third layer which is called Manomaya Kosha. First is called Annamaya Kosha, that is the food layer, that is the gross body. Second layer is the energy layer, that is the Pranamaya Kosha, that is the breathing and all that. Okay. Also, there's nadis, there are nerve channels and all that, energy channels, nadis, they are. So that whole thing is a big, big science, Peter. Don't underestimate. There was a course that was 512 weeks. And so you can imagine when I heard about that, I was dumbfounded, But the person who told me about it is very revered, and that's why I don't think they have any business of selling anything. But then we don't have to do all that. But there's a lot of motor and understanding about breathing physiology. I kind of combine both of that, motor and understanding, and also how it matches the insights that you get from the yogic learning and all, right? So it makes much more sense to me than other people because I have this background, And then third layer is manomaya kosha. Manomaya kosha, mano means mind, okay? And all the thoughts, all the feelings, all the impulses, so whatever you feel, that's all in one layer called manomaya kosha. This is where modern people are stuck. They may do physical exercise, they may do breathing exercise, but when it comes to the mind, they have too many influences, too much going on, and they don't even calm down and reflect on their own thoughts and then empty them. That's what I could talk about it all the time, right? So, uh,
I see. I'm sorry.
yeah, let me finish these 5 layers, then you will have
Sure.
much more idea. Then the fourth layer is called Vijnanamaya Kosha. That means what is your understanding about life, about joys, about relationships, whatever understandings you have from the thoughts and emotions and all that, that layer, how understanding you are, what kind of understanding you have. Do you understand only the materialist life is everything and there's nothing else? You can be like that, but then it will be a limited experience. Like that, what is your general understanding about life as a whole and from millennia to now? Sciences, philosophies, and all that, right? And the fifth layer is called blissful layer, Anandamaya Kosha. And that is
Yes.
where you have peace beyond understanding,
Yeah.
peace beyond your accumulation of knowledge or whatever you think you are, whatever role you are, whatever you go or whatever personality you identify with, all that beyond that, And
Yeah.
that's when you have not only happiness, not because of you're getting something and you're happy, but you discover as a human being, you are a serene, peaceful, joyful being. And most of the
It's a
people,
beautiful state.
yeah, beautiful state, and then most of the people cannot stay there because they are pulled out by their own intellect and also the
Mhm.
senses. So yoga teaches you how to understand all this and then calm all that down and really, you were asking me about Patanjali yoga at one time, right?
Yeah, I sure did.
Yeah, in the Patanjali yoga, they start with yoga chitta vritti nirodha. That means modulations of the mind are calmed down. And it's not that you are dead, but you only use mind very effectively, like I am. I'm always talking to people, doing all that. But with that serenity first in there, then speech comes out, whatever I wanted to talk about, right? So that is the advantage of understanding the what is the real yoga. People are sold on getting some physical benefits, mental benefits. They're okay, but don't stop there. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Is my journey is don't stop there, go beyond it, and then you will see how it's not only improves your inner self and your family and outward, but also it contributes to the globe as a whole. We'll go into that later, maybe not in
Sure.
this class, but some other class. Not a class, more like a this conversation we are having. But I do these things all the time about Patanjali Yoga. See, traditional ancient texts, what they have is they state what their book is all about in the first few stanzas. And then they unravel the whole thing, why they came to that. In this one, yoga means you are stilling the vrittis, that means thoughts and all that. Just you still them, and then when you have stilled them, Tada drashtu swarupe avasthan. Swarupa is the key word there. What it means is your real inner essence that
Right.
comes out because this stillness happened, and that is called samadhi. Very difficult for people, but even if you are in that thoughtless state still, but aware, it's a immensely energetic thing, right? And I happen to feel that, the only people who will feel that after they go. And then now we can show on modern scanning, fMRI, all that, we can show you exactly when you are going into the mode. If you tell your meditation such a way and you do it, and you kind of, not forcibly, but ease into that state by not allowing these thoughts come out. That is where the work is needed. But progressively you get into that. The more you understand it, the more you live with it, not taking up once in a month, but as a study. That's where it is a big study. If I tell you, Peter, medical study was okay. We were doing a lot of studying, a lot of memorizing and all that, a lot of
Sure.
discussions too. And I have doing the philosophies and a lot of things. But then nothing like studying ourself, our own inner self. That is the a very big deal. That's why the people who are really established in that, I really respect them quite a bit.
When you told me about how um, when you had your stroke, how significant it affected, was it your left side of your body?
Yeah.
Yeah, how it affected that and how you got through that through medicine, but also through
Yeah.
these practices. I remember on a very different level, when I got COVID. I had COVID-19, and I had it really bad. And I thought, if I'm, by the morning, if I'm not better, I'm going to the hospital. If I'm going to the hospital, I'll be on a ventilator. This was early on.
Yeah.
That would be it. But then I remembered to quiet my mind.
Yeah.
And I remembered reading a book called The Science of Breath.
Yeah.
And about yogic breathing. I remember the cleansing breath.
Yeah.
And I did that.
Yeah.
I did that for on and off 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
Do you know, I laid my head on the pillow.
Yeah.
An hour later, I broke into this cold sweat.
Yeah.
My fever had dropped.
Yeah.
I was breathing normally. My chest no longer felt like someone was stepping on me.
Good.
Now,
yeah.
People can say what they want about it, but I know exactly what it was.
Yeah.
I know I breathed my way.
I will give you a name for that, Peter. What you experienced, I will give a name. You awaken your own inner healing effect. That is there physiologically. Like, you heard about relaxation response in the mind. Uh, Herbert Benson, Harvard person, developed that kind of mantra yoga, and from there he brought it in and all that. That actually doing that, this mantras and all that, you can evoke that relaxation response in your head, right? That's physiological, nothing about anything, right? And then people give colors with the religious and all that. That's up to them, but you don't have to be that. You don't have to be religious, right? And then like that, you don't have to be taking a lot of what you did. Excellent there was calming that superficial mind. That is the yoga chitta vritti nirodha. When you still, that stillness is actually a function of the mind. We think we'll get the stillness when we stop all the thoughts. Actually, the stillness is there. You are overcrowding it with thoughts. Once you calm it down, that comes up.
It's always there.
Yeah.
It's always there.
It's always
and
there.
I always talk about, I say go into the silence, but more aptly, I mean, I'm going home. I go back to who I really am. I go home.
Yeah.
And I have to thank you, Dr. Rao, because I fell away from that, quite honestly. I do have my meditation, but it's mostly just to clear my head and de-stress. It's mostly breathing. And
Peter, you're going to go out. You're going to go out in 30 seconds or so. Come back, okay? So I put like 30 minutes, but it's going for. Okay. Coming right back. Okay. Continue.
So Yeah, what I was saying was like it's since I've been connected on this app and started to listen with you and dialogue with you is when I've gone into that state. I've gone home several times since then. Boy, did I miss it. And I remember telling you, fuck it, I was just smiling like I'm smiling now. It was just it's just so it's the best place to be, and it's better than
it's a subjective experience, it's not like I can give it to somebody. They have to walk that and then find. You see, you are actually in COVID times, I was here and I was very involved in the COVID, obviously, because I was an epidemiology interested person for a long time, And, what it means is I followed HIV and other epidemics as they broke through since 80, right? I came here on 81 November 5th, and I was 27, I think, at that time. And ever since I was in healthcare in some way or other, right? But I saw HIV patients at the time, and I saw later on so many other, influenza. So many things have come. So I'm always going to the roots of what's happening. That way we followed that too. What happened with the COVID was I was following what is happening in the science about invention of the uh, vaccine and therapeutic measure. I was following what is going on research-wise, right? But at the same time, I was employing this holistic process of really doing the, host resistance. We are the host. The agent is the bug, and the environment. So environment mitigation measures, I strongly encourage people to wear the mask, to be careful of washing, all those things, But I also focused on the host immunity. I'll tell you a story, small story. In 1919, there was a big influenza epidemic, right? A lot of people were in, and then
killed many people.
Yeah, millions of people. That's a subject of study for us too. Then what happened was many people went to the war and then came back, First World War, and then came back to India. The British and these people were the war. Okay, and then after they came, they distributed the entire country, right? And then they took all the bugs to all over. That's why it was a terrible time, But BK Iyengar is, I kind of, value him very much because he's a very good physical yoga person, but he also has other aspects of yoga. Unless you are interested, you won't get that from him. And also, he has talked about it, but people have to catch it, So they are mesmerized by his demo of the physical yoga. But there's how he comes from the self, from that, essence to the mind, to the body, people miss it because they are fascinated by how well he can do the physical asana, right? His ashram, the story is he had circa 5,000 people coming in and going out of there. And that Pune, that is the town, that's the city that he was living in, that was the epicenter of so many cases. But you know what? None of the people in the ashram got affected. See, that was a real story that really happened. But then there is a reason for that. He prescribed some yoga asanas and also breathing exercises mainly. Okay, those breathing exercises really helped them to not to have their resistance lowered down so that they will uh, be succumbing to the power of the bug. See, bugs, there are so many bugs there, but we have herd immunity because we have it, we didn't succumb to it, then we develop the antibodies and the immunity and all that. Now, even now, Peter, I have a routine that I show people how to really improve the lymphatic system. From head to toe, we have lymph nodes, right? How to enhance the blood flow and everything for them so that your immune system is very strong. Right? Yeah, that's what I saw. I taught long COVID, for example. I used to go to this room where the women are coming and they're actually telling their experience with the long COVID. They were all affected, even cardiology people, other people are in the clubhouse. So I used to go there and I used to give them these solutions. But not many people took it, or even they took it, they're very good, but they did not practice. Like you are taking a shower, you got to do these things every day. Then the body
Yeah.
and the mind will. You see, what you did there was, first of all, you did not allow the mind to influence your body because you calmed it down. And the second thing is,
Yeah.
you kind of did that fire breath, which is called Kapalabhati. That is given this name Sarvanogarivari. Aushadam, okay, Sanjeevani, they call it. What it is it can cure any illness, provided if you at least do 15 minutes every day.
Isn't that I see when you say that,
Yeah.
just that turns me on. Like
Yeah.
that does it for me, because
Yeah.
as soon as it rolled off your lips and hit my ears, I know it to be true.
Yeah. Because you
Now,
experienced
you
it.
say, well, have you ever heard of that? Have you ever heard of that? What, Doc, can you repeat it back to me? But I know truth
Yeah.
when I hear it, when
That's
I
it.
feel it.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. Unless you experience it, you won't. You have to believe somebody, right? And then you have to
Right.
ask proof from somebody. That's what we do with the science. We want to have the proof by our peers, and then studies done and all that, so that we are not spreading something like a false thing in that. But you know what? This yoga has centuries of practice behind it. And that's why it went through so many trials and tribulations and then stood the time. Even now, see, somebody like me living in America, I live a
Yeah.
yogic life. By living that, I'm not harming anybody. I'm not telling them you have to follow certain religion, none of it. It's a lifestyle, it's understanding, it's kind of experiencing it ourselves.
Right. And I think what you said the word religion, so it kind of reminds me of a question I have. I know you've answered it, but if I go to different levels as I increase in my knowledge and
Yeah.
wisdom and practice, I'll use that word. I know you don't like it,
Mhm.
of yoga. Am I subscribing to Hinduism? Am I prescribing?
No, no, this was there even before Hinduism was coined.
Yeah.
See, if you see me, I don't say Hinduism, I don't even practice that. Do you know that?
I know you don't.
But I take the wisdom from each religion. I quote
Yeah.
Rumi, I quote Christ, I quote Islam, because they have wisdom there. See what they say? Uh, Truth is only one, but different people follow different ways. Ultimately, they come to the truth. So now another thing is, why should I identify with some crutch when I don't need it? I'm a human being, I'm a world citizen. I don't have to identify with any country, any religion, anything. That's the actual status I'm in my mind.
Yeah.
But Hinduism has tremendous insight into human beings' lives, and also many weaknesses, like in Christianity, like in Islam, we see the weaknesses happen. Now, for me, what it is if I identify with one particular religion as a, I'm separating all the other human beings who are in other religions. So I don't have any problem just allowing people do whatever they do, but I don't want to identify with anything.
Yeah.
Even the
And I've
patriotism.
heard you say yeah, I've heard you say that several times. So I
Yeah,
just, maybe if it's the first time they're tuning in and listening to you, I want them to kind of know that. And I was really surprised to hear you say that when you first said it,
yeah,
because in my head, I had this notion that sooner or later, the deeper you go,
yeah,
the more indoctrinated you could become.
yeah.
But my faith is my faith, and it is what it is. So I stand strong in it. But I don't bring that. I may change some of um, my
This
initial when I was initially
when you
meditating and stuff. I would focus on something other than
yeah, that
an
that's
object.
just for the focus
Sure.
period we do it. But then some people see, these are the important things. Is people think God is out there, but
Yeah.
this kind of philosophy shows you it is in you and in everything. So it's not like a figure out there, but it is in you as the piece of that consciousness, right? Another thing is when you really identify with that, then your body and mind are your tools. You don't want to identify with something that's not really you. Your mind is not
Right.
you. All this conditioning, all these religious feelings, all these separations, everything is in the mind, not
Right.
in your awareness, not in your being. Right? So look at this, the consequences, killings, because you identify with Hinduism, you are killing other people. Other people are identifying themselves, they come and kill the Hindus. But original philosophy, if you go to ancient, see, I always say ancient wisdom. This is
Yeah.
thousands of years ago when you don't even have coined the terms of religion or kinds of the what you know what they said. You got to go into yourself by yourself. You want to go with the group and all that, that's your weakness. But if you want to go into yourself, you don't need any crutch.
Right.
Just sit down and shut up and you reflect on it. That's it.
And people and today, like, everybody's a victim of this,
Yeah,
of this, of this mass media and
yeah,
predatory um, uh, advertising by these companies, whether
yeah,
they're tech companies, food companies,
yeah,
but it's just a lot of throwing at you, all this noise, right?
yeah.
And but even beyond that, like, I think just people are afraid. Listen, I've heard people I've coached people who are in recovery for a year or better. That's kind of where I start with them,
Mm.
and they've confided in me. So I have to stay busy because if I slow down,
Yeah.
I'm going to think about what's happened in my life. I'm going to work. They just keep moving. They're afraid. They're afraid of their own thoughts, let alone letting them go and observe.
Peter, you asked my question earlier. Where do I start? This is where you
Yeah.
start. You start
Yes.
what is called self knowledge. How does it come? First of all, see why you are not able to see this fundamental essence of yours and fundamental uh, conditioning factors that are happening in your life because of the society, cultures, or everywhere people are conditioned, right? So,
Yeah.
that is a burden for us. See, enlightenment is seeing the truth, that's one thing. The other thing is lightening your mind from these conditionings. Work on that. Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody, other people may point out that's not important. What is important is can I see it, the limitations in me that were observed innocently, or I was raised in an atmosphere where they all become my properties.
Yeah.
That's why when you listen to anything, don't accept it, don't deny it, but reflect on it. Three process they call about in ancient wisdom: Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasana. Shravana means just listen to the fact. Suppose even science also like that, right? If I go there and I say, okay, somebody says, okay, this bug is Plasmodium vivax, this can cause this illness, then I want to remove the name and I want to understand what it does and I want to reproduce that in my exam, right? And
Yeah.
then I have to listen to that what the teacher is saying, and I have to listen to the experiment that gone. I have to listen to to find out the root of the fevers, and that's why they have malaria, and they were finding this, and also there are so many different varieties. All that is observation, and we are learning, right? And then if I don't listen to experiential already done, then I'm denying the best practice there, right? So first listen,
Yeah.
either scientific fact or philosophical insight or whatever. First listen completely, and then you reflect on this. That is manana. How much you reflect on it is means doesn't want to come to conclusion right away with your own conditionings, with your own limited thinking, but
Yeah.
really reflect on it, not according to your culture, not according to one particular understanding, not that. What is the truth in it? How do I find it? What proof I want to that? All those questions will come on the reflection, mananam, and that's most people don't do. You see, many people listen to me. Oh yeah, that's a good one, and then they glorious compliment they say to me. I don't need that. What I need is
Right.
that you sit with that and then go and investigate on your own, find out the truth. And so, okay, you found out the truth. Then the third step, nididhyasana, allow that insight happening in your life. See, first here,
Yeah.
say, now reflect on it, understand the insight, then have it operational in your life. First, when if you
That's
listen and you say, "Oh, I'm going to believe because Dr. Kulsu has this MD degree and all that," even my patients, I tell them, question what is treatment is given by anybody, why they are
sure.
doing it, and lot of doctor specialists got angry with me because many patients don't want to have pacemakers put in, surgeries done, because I rule them out.
Yeah. Oh wow.
The commercial angle, right? So, but when we care for our patients, like our family,
That can't be too popular.
yeah, no, it is not power. Some people came and fought with me, the doctors. I didn't care because I'm psychologically independent. I don't care.
Right.
Because you
Right.
want
Right.
to do something for your own good at the expense of my patient, and you want me to be
Thank you.
quiet,
Thank you.
right? I don't.
We need
Yeah,
100,000 Dr. Rouse. I
yeah.
promise you we do. We
But
really
you
do.
know what? Most of the yogis, most of the sages that I know from India in the ancient times, not now, in the ancient times, they were giving treatment freely, knowledge freely.
Yeah.
There was nothing like this profits or thing like this monetary thing. This was not there. They said, as a human being, if I see Peter in pain, my duty is to help to relieve it. That could be knowledge, that could be some way or all that. And you know what? Why they did that? They saw the divinity in you. That is called Siva Gnana Jiva Sheva. Siva means that ultimate reality. Gnana means knowing that everybody has that trace of it. And even though it is trace, it is so effective, it dominates everything. And then Gnana means knowledge, right? Siva Gnana. Jiva means our individual self. Seva. So it means service.
Mhm.
I'm servicing the divine being on each one, so why should I ask for anything for in return? That was the thing they built it up,
Yeah.
and they are
Is that
so rich.
Sanskrit?
Yeah, Sanskrit. Yeah,
It is there.
yeah. But that's the way I have a room in clubhouse named after that. Because I wanted to remember. I want to convey that. I don't do many of them because I open them. Three of them they're there. I open them, but not. I do many of them, right?
Right.
So, but then I put that name there because so that I can remember when I'm coming and serving the divine. So most of my services, most of my talks are free because I wanted to understand how the ancient Vaidyas means the doctors. Even, what they used to do? They used to get up in the morning and go into the forest and identify all these medicinal plants and leaves of barks and all that, and they gave them
Yeah.
all in a cloth, bring it home, and they sit on the balcony, and all these people come, and then he will just ask them what is the problem and examine them very briefly, and then gives them the medication, and then that's all free. They have this, Peter, I don't know you heard about it or not. It's called Nadi Pravina. That means they can take your pulse and tell you what kind of disease you have inside. That's very crazy, but it is there. And then they also have this capacity to block your uh, energy channels or release them, the energy that's blocked. That's called Nadi Pravina. Pravina means expert. Nadi means
These are practitioners, right?
yeah, these are practitioners. What they did was they relieved pain, they relieved a lot of things for people just by pressing on those energy points, like acupuncture, But acupuncture later, but before these people invented that, and that went to China and all that. And then they developed it with the manipulation of needles energy. But these people just did with their own acupressure, they called it, acupressure yoga, and then they press those points, and like for example, and I'm doing the breathing in the morning, the watching the thoughts thing. I make them do the fingers in such a way. There is science behind it, but I didn't want to go into details because people get bored, you know.
Yeah.
But you know what the British did for them? Because these people don't take any money and they're relieving all the pain of the villagers. So the villagers worship him as a god, right? And so he was so popular politically. He has no political intentions, but they jealous and they chopped off their hands.
Who chopped off their hands?
British, when they were ruling Indians.
Yeah.
The political, that's it. And what it is, the importance of that hand. That's what I have to point it out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these things are there. Even now, India has this home department. I'm not really privy of that when I was there, but lately they have so Ayush, Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, like that. 5 branches are there. They put them there, and these alternate therapies are pretty popular with the villagers even now. If you take the modern medicine, is more like a not holistic; it's a reductionist. So they still are treating us like a Newtonian physics, whereas quantum physics says we are energy bodies and we are all in one energy. Yeah, why don't they take
Yep.
the medicine? Okay, I look at a patient, for me, just not a liver disease or not. A person, a human being who has this being inside has problem with his body and this one. So there's all together. That's why I told you those 5 layers. That's how yoga looks at people completely, holistically.
Mhm.
Just because you have the COVID doesn't mean my body has COVID. You are suffering with it. You are mentally feeling and your energy is down, right?
Yeah.
So how can you be just one organ?
Right.
The specialization is,
I'm on board.
yeah, specialization is good to really improve the survivability, but specialization also led to forgetting the whole as a whole.
So the same spirit, I'm going to
Mm.
call it the spirit, the energy that was clothed in British uniforms or whatever, that same spirit
Yeah,
is alive, and
yeah.
I don't want to say alive and well, it's alive and sick and very active today.
Oh yeah,
And as you're speaking, I'm thinking about the awareness of yoga, and I'm thinking about how the commercialization of yoga
yeah,
has gone. Because it gets folks to that one level and then it turns you away. And then
yeah,
I would not be one bit surprised.
yeah. You
In
know,
fact, I don't have to be surprised. I know
yeah,
because I work with some of these larger MCOs
yeah,
as a disability advocate, and they promote a lot of this wellness and
yeah,
this surface level yoga. It has its place, but it will not.
yeah,
They do not promote anything remotely close
yeah.
to what you're talking about because
Yeah.
that would cut.
Actually, I gave a recent lecture on this trivialization of real healing systems. Yoga is also part of that too. There is a problem of original people who invented understanding that even in India was not there, but then this commercialization of the West has crept into Indian society too, and now they are more commercial than American sometimes, but in general. But then there are people who are genuine students of the real thing, and they are keeping the culture going. Like I am.
Yeah.
I am kind of absorbed of them. I put them in my life, and I'm also trying to help my patients and my family, my friends, so that they can have a wellness oriented life, so that the suffering will be less. That's all I'm concerned about. How can I relieve the suffering a little if I can? That's what I do. But I'm also very easy to see there is a criminalization happens in American way. Anything you say user friendly, let's do that. That's okay. But then they lose the substance of it, right? So, for example, yoga has taken so many connotations. For example, take meditation, right? Meditation is for calming the mind so that
Mhm.
you can establish yourself in a real inner essence. But then there's people, lots of meditations are there. They say, we're going to make you sleep better. We're going to make you really not get angry. All these superficial things they can say. They are true. They will have the benefits. But stopping people at that, I think, the disservice. They're not giving the real value of it unless you go deeper and take time and study it. You won't get it. But then people don't have the time, so they want to, for example, they want to sit in front of the whatever they sit and they want to meditate, and the kid comes along and she says something, they really lose their temper. So what meditation are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what it is that trivialization happened on so many valuable things of the ancients, not just in this culture, in Greece, in Egypt, in China, in Japan. I have entered all these things because I wanted to understand what those ancients were telling. I'm more familiar with the India because I grew up in the culture, which is,
Right.
there is one, that these yogis live for 125 years on average.
Yeah.
Even now, I just have a, person I follow is 180 years old now. And he looks like a 50-year-old and he talks with such a sharp mind and such a clarity, such a energy, you won't believe that he is like that. But he was born in
Right.
1919 or something. Yeah, something like that.
Right.
Because he describes all the events that happened in India, the people that were there, and how he went. And you say, for example, he taught me. I know a lot about breathing, but still I listen to these yogis because they are great teachers, right? And he told me something like a vegan. Vegan means that vega means speed, right? So if
Yeah.
was to start like this, that means like that few times, maybe 10 times, then 20, 30 times, like that. So if you can do that initially, it will kind of cleans up the entire system, and then you go to Shitali, then you go to Ujjaini. And so you have to prepare yourself to these things before you go to the fire breath. But the fire breath, once you master it and do it, that one thing, if you do 15 minutes in the morning, very powerful. And you know that.
Very.
You experience that.
Yep. And here's the thing, like as you're speaking, like there's just so much. I mean,
Yeah.
we have to come back and have another show, um, but as you're speaking, I'm thinking about my personal experience.
Mm.
For those who don't know me, I was a police officer for 23 years. I was involved in a very bad on-duty accident.
Mm.
I was going through some marital difficulties, and my perfect storm was a bad back, a bottle of pills, and a broken heart.
Ah.
And I went down the road of addiction. There was a time in my life when I said, there's no way I'll ever stop taking these pills.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I need for my life. Because the first time I took a pill,
Yeah.
an opioid, for the first time in my life, I felt comfortable
Yeah.
in my own skin. For the first time in my life, I felt like the rest of the world around me looked. For the first time, didn't know what it felt like to that moment. Wasn't high, it was that.
Yeah.
Whatever chemistry or neurotransmitters in my brain is just differently than they fire off differently than someone else, and that like connected those things. But of course, there's that huge downside.
Yeah.
And there was that downside. It eventually ended up in prison because I was put on probation, couldn't stay clean, couldn't stop taking pills. And I'm so grateful for that time in prison, because that's when I was handed that book by Paramahansa Yogananda, Autobiography of a Yogi. And
that's a Kriya Yoga. Kriya Yoga.
Yeah, that's Kriya. But my point is this: like, I'm a pretty sane man, right? And I wouldn't consider myself unintelligent, and I know enough to know that I don't know enough. But I say to you, whoever may be listening, in full clarity of mind, spirit, and out of love, that it's no coincidence that you're listening to this right now. I don't care if there's one person or 400 people on this talk. I don't care.
Yeah.
Because I know that this spirit that Dr. Rao's been talking about, this oversoul, this oneness,
Yeah.
is an energy that permeates and penetrates the inner spaces of this universe, being in and through all things, and it's all connected. And my first experience when I went into the silence and I experienced that bliss, for lack of a better term.
That is bliss.
There's no pill, there is no pill possible that could ever give me that feeling.
Yeah, another tidbit about myself, just boasting, 2014 till now, I didn't even take a Tylenol.
Yeah.
Just
yeah, no, I know that.
Yeah, just telling you that how powerful these things are. And then also, I don't take away my patients' medications. If they need them, they are not in a position to bear them. I don't take them irresponsibly, But I'm just stating people just to be example how somebody can be, even at the age 70, don't have any medications on board. How much money I'm saving? Sorry about that. I just had to say that. Go on.
Don't be. Yeah. Don't be sorry at all. No, it's just, this conversation will continue.
Yeah.
And but I'm just really grateful that you took this time to answer a few of my questions and give me a deeper understanding. Of what this lifestyle is about, and it's just absolutely incredible. And like
I haven't even scratched it. Let me tell you, put it in context, okay? If we live the modern life of just doing stuff and also getting stressed and then getting addicted because we want to escape from the stress, you don't have to live like that. We have the knowledge in modern science, and also we have knowledge in the ancient wisdom. All I'm saying is I'm inviting people to look at that with an open mind, and then really examine it. Don't trust anybody, because there are so many people who want to make business on this spirituality also, so that is there. But then individually, what I call on people is be proactive about your life, your wellness, whatever you are learning. Be proactive, understand the larger picture, and then bring that intelligence into your life, and that will guide you.
Dr. Rao, I really appreciate your time tonight. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. Namaste. Yeah, sure. We will talk about Patanjali Yoga later. Okay. So that's about it, folks. So anybody else want to say anything? I will stay here for a few more minutes. You can come up and ask me on the Noom Vibe if you wish, or if you have any experiences like me and Peter shared, you can share with us too. It's a good thing to open up your mind, even the wellness practices I see that are practiced in there, they're okay, but they're preliminary. There's so much more there. By understanding, you can be very proactive about your own wellness. I don't think the degrees and all things that we display are really should be taken as granted, and that is a wisdom. It's not, So you got to explore this on your own, and then come to the insight, and then use that insight, And also, if you are proactive about your wellness, then you will do a lot of things much ahead. Right now, we can take your health status and examine, and with the blood counts and all that we do, we can tell you what you're going to have in 10 years' time. If you don't change your lifestyles, if you don't understand your family inheritance of this disease and all, we can tell you that. And then we can reverse your lifestyle habits so that you won't manifest that disease. Okay. So that intelligence is there. Molecular health and everything we know much more scientifically too. But the healing effect that I was talking to Peter about, that he experienced, that is there from the time immemorial, and then ancients exploited more. So don't be prejudicial like 200, 300 years of science is superior than the ancient thousands of years of life experience. Doesn't mean that everybody is talking about that life experience is knowing the real ancient truth. Okay, so go to that, study that, and bring it in your life. I am doing that. I am very happy I'm doing that. Right? So I kind of say these things that I don't take any medications or I had something. Actually, that stroke and all this is a memory. I don't even remember that. Unless I talk, that will come. Otherwise, it doesn't play any role in daily life. So, but maybe it has happened because I wanted to get this wellness message to the world. I'm not just working only with the individuals. I'm working with health systems. Just now, I got a speaking thing that I was going through this morning. The meeting happened, and probably I'll have more speaking engagements than what I'm doing now. And I'll be busy talking to people who are health executives, who are health care deans, and all that, so that they can bring it to the larger population. Okay, thank you. And like I said, anybody wants to come up, you can come up and we can chat for a few minutes if you want to. So otherwise, take it easy and be proactive. And join me in the morning, 8 o'clock, where I talk about how to prep ourselves to the work so that we go and work with vigor, with in flow, and not generating stress. Okay? Don't talk too much. Listen and then assess whatever you want to, and then make sure those insights, those things that you learned, implement in the life. Are they real? If they're real, if you accept it, then make sure they are happening in your life. Okay. Thank you very much, and I'll see you later.